Are we okay? Can we hear me? Can we hear me? Am I here? Welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. I don't know if I'm up and running. It's really been playing up. I'm just waiting for the guys on the live to let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. What a palaver. Let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me. Excellent. Excellent. Sorry, guys. Yes, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Tuesdays are my request evening. Thursdays, the stories I like to bring to you. Like I say, I'm here live. If you want to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472. My process with the live is I will talk to the guys in the live for a couple of minutes. It's obviously gone on a bit longer this evening due to technical difficulties, as my moderator said so lovely. I had other choice words for it. Oh God, I went off then, didn't I? So you can come and join the live. You can subscribe, which I'd really appreciate. You can join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/JessRose4472, which I've said. Or just come and join us. Oh, that was what I meant to say. Sorry, my God. Oh my God, what tonight's starting off well. Yes, I talked to the guys in the live for a couple of minutes. Once I start the story, I don't stop. I continue all the way to the end. Then I'll come back and have a chat with the guys in the comments. It's not a case of back and forth in while the story's going on, in case that's something that you're not really interested in. So stick around. I'd really appreciate it. Hi, guys. Hi, Warwick. Hi, Phil. Hi, Tiff. Hi, Kelly. I don't know if I saw Hayley. How are we all? My God, that was a bit of a palaver to begin. He just kept shutting me down. That's got to have been 5 or 6 times, and in the end I had to restart my phone, and it starts to come in with an update. I was like, oh, this isn't going to happen tonight, is it? This is gone. I've never had that happen before, and I can't guarantee it's not going to happen again. So just to let you know, that's what happened. If you came a bit later, then you wouldn't have realised. But yes, that's what happened a minute ago. I know I saw Phil and I saw Tiffany. But yeah, a bit of a palaver this evening. But I seem to be up and running. I seem to be, we seem to be okay. Why have I dropped down to 2? Why have I dropped down? What's going on? I don't understand what's happening. Do you know what it is? I know exactly what it is. Do you know what it is? Tiffany. Do you know why this is happening? Because of the story I'm doing tonight. That's what it is. Even YouTube doesn't want to hear anymore. I'm joking. I did that. I don't know what that was. I did think that though when it was all happening. I was like, I am just not meant to do this one. Oh, how are we all? Did we all have a good weekend? I can see we've only got 2 on. Are people dropping out? Oh, is this happening to anyone else? Oh, do you know what I didn't do either? I didn't turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. It was, but it's not now. Oh, my goodness. Now I'm down to 1. I've dropped down to 1. Are people dropping out? Is people's lives dropping out? I'm down to 1. Who are missing? Speak up, say your piece. Who've I still got? Oh, Phil, I think it's just me and you are left. I think it's just me and you. Oh, why is it only saying there's 1 on? Is it just you 2? Warwick, Kelly, you still here? Let us know, because otherwise it's just cocking up on how many people are in the live. Otherwise, they've been booted out. Oh, God, what a night. Oh, so you are all here. I wonder why it's only saying 1. Oh, YouTube's on 1. I'm taking it personal, guys. I'm taking it personal. Can't help it. I'm taking it personal now. It's just crazy. It's just ridiculous. Well, even though it's only saying one, if you're all here, then I'm just going to carry on because I always seem to be running okay now. I don't know what all this has been about, but I seem to be running okay. So, yeah. How was your weekends? How are we all? I know we're running like half an hour behind at the minute, aren't we? You just keep going off. But numbers, I'm back up to 2. I'm not watching the numbers. That's not why I'm watching it. I'm just making sure that people aren't being booted out, and I'm about to start, and people aren't here. I agree, 100%, Warwick. 100% agree with you. Why though? Teeny tiny channel. Teeny channel. Why bother with me? What am I doing? Not bothering anyone. Just leave me alone. Hey, Hayley. Tiffany was just about to hunt you down. You haven't missed anything. You're not late. It's all been a bit of a mess tonight. YouTube has not been happy with me for whatever reason. I don't know. I have an idea. But I don't say because the channel... Next time I go to log in, there'll be no True Crime with Jess Rose anymore. The channel will be just gone. Oh, God, touch wood. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Had you gone? Oh, you mean... got yeah. She came as soon as you gone. I was going to say, is Kelly still here? I'm really worried that people are being booted off. And I don't like that. I don't like that because it's not fair. People are taking time out their evenings and they're getting booted off the channel. It's not me, I swear. My hands are here. I'm not doing anything. Oh, God. Yeah, I do believe there's something very dodgy going on. I'll just leave it at that. But I don't know why. No, I don't. I don't know why. I'm going to openly say I don't know why. Because I've stopped. I've stopped. I'm being good. I'm being good on the internet. I'm being very good. I'm good on the TikTok. I don't mind my business. I just get on and Anyway. I'm blaming your story. Is your story. I think that's something behind it as well. And so the minute I put the title in, I've overshot. Yeah, do you know what, Phil? I wouldn't put anything past anything. I'm not going to lie. I'm really not. All I know is something's happening. Something is going on. Where's Apprentice Tiff? She's there. The Hayley's there. I've seen her this evening. I've got to stop doing that. I'm going to start wearing trousers again soon, guys, so you'll stop hearing this slapping. It's nerves. It's nerves. It's when I'm all shifty. Once I start, you won't hear it anymore. It's all the nerves at the beginning. You think I'd be past all that now, wouldn't you, after a year? But no, it still happens. If it doesn't go right for me, I do start to get quite nervous. Right, shall we... Oh, God, look at her. Look at her. Itching to start. Well, the Courtney. I don't know where she's actually. Maybe she's tried and couldn't get on, and she's just give up. She's not the most patient girl in the world, as you've probably got to get the inkling of. She's not mega patient, is Courtney. So I wouldn't be surprised she's looked, seen it's not there, and buggered off and gone to do something else. So. She may be back. She may be back. She should. She's a hit and miss. She's a hit and miss. Yeah, or pop up halfway through. Yeah, and just appear and cause me a load of hassles. Usually what happens. Right, yeah. So, back to this story, eh? Well, like I said, it was going to be a long one. Now, I've done long stories, as we know. But I believe this could be the first one since I've started doing the lives where I've got to do 2 parts. 2 of them. I have to do 2. So you're going to get my company with this story. It is a long one. Oh, God. It began and this story, my God. But yes, it's a long one. And I've got to do it over 2 parts. So this evening, we are going to do, I'm presuming everyone knows this story, because Tiffany chose the most, what's the word, saturated internet story there is. I don't know another one. But I'm presuming everyone knows this story. So, laugh it off. So, we're going to do her before and after. I don't want to give it away. People don't know the story. So, if you know the story, you're going to understand what I mean with the before and after. It's all length, Warwick. It's all length, unfortunately. If it was width, I probably could have fitted it in, but no, it's all length. So, what happened? What's going on? I don't even, oh my God, look at this. Right, okay, I don't know how far behind I am, but it's quite a while, I assume. So, I'm going to start with... I'm going to leave you to do that. It. But I'm going to calm myself down now. And I'm going to start. If you're watching tomorrow, I'm going to start now. Like I say, the story's been split into 2. And yeah, let's begin. It's not that each one's incredibly long. I'm not going to keep you for the whole evening. It's just to put the whole thing together. It would have just run over way too much to expect you to stay on the live, and obviously it's quite late in the night by the time we finish. So, yes, I've decided to split it into 2, which I've never done before, but hey ho, trust it to be Tiffany to draw on this one. Yeah, really quickly, I did see Kelly. Is she there? I'm not so sure, but I did see her on here. Right, okay. Anyway, I'm going to remove myself from the live now and get on with the story. Okay. So, as the title said, the Unsettling Gypsy Rose Blanchard story. It's part 1. So, it's just going to be her history, her mum's history, all the backstory leading up to a particular evening in 2015. Part 2 will then continue on from where we've gone from there. So that's the layout of how I'm going to say the story. So, okay. So who we're actually going to start with this evening is Claudine Blanchard. Okay? Claudine. Now, Claudine, who was born on the 3rd of May 67, although have I took down the American date, which would make it March 5th 67. Oh God, Dee Dee anyway. She's nicknamed Dee Dee. She's from Louisiana. She's of Canadian French descent. Now, Claudine, how do I describe her? Like I say, we're going to call her Dee Dee because that's the nickname she had from a very young age, and throughout her life. So we'll call her Dee Dee. Now, Dee Dee, what can I say about Dee Dee? She's not a good person. Let's just say that to begin with. And wasn't from very early on. Her family didn't have a lot of nice things to say about her in her early life. It says that she could be quite spiteful. If things didn't go her way, she would steal from the family. She wasn't thought of very highly. Let's just say that. Bit of a bad temper. Just nothing I found about this woman. None of it's positive. I couldn't find anything positive about this woman. Now, shall I come back to that bit? Yes, I'll come back to that bit. Right, okay. So, age 23, Dee Dee meets Rod Blanchard. Obviously, that will be a married name. Um, he was only 17 at the time, though. Now, I've seen it said that she was 24, he was 17, even 23, 17. If we reverse that round and that was a 24-year-old man with a 17-year-old girl, I think we know what would be said. But anyway, they met and they married in December of 1990. Okay. Now, it seems that she was pregnant around this time. And given the fact that it's Louisiana, it's deep south of America, it's very traditional, it's very conservative, they got married. Okay, they did get married. They were married in December of 1990. I'm not too sure if I just said that. But by June of 91, they were separated. So the relationship itself lasted all of about 6 months. It was a very, very quick relationship. He realised, like, he's young. It wasn't everything he thought it was going to be. And, yeah, he left. But he'd left her. He didn't leave his daughter, who was born in July of 91, the 27th of July 1991. Okay. Little girl named Gypsy Alcida Rose Blanchard. Okay. Now, the reason it said that they chose Gypsy was because Dee Dee liked the name Gypsy and Rod liked Guns N' Roses. So that's where they got Gypsy Rose from. Which, okay, we've all got a starting story, I suppose. Now, like I say, they'd separated. She tried to get him back once she'd had Gypsy and everything else. He really wasn't interested. He wasn't his child. Now, given he was so young and that he broke up with Dee Dee and it was the 90s, I find it refreshing, let's say, that he wanted to be in his daughter's life. He did, all the way through. He wanted to be part of his daughter's life. So we can remember that as we go along with this story. But yes, so Dee Dee and Gypsy, obviously they're not with Rod anymore. So Dee Dee takes Gypsy and she moves back in with her family. All right? Okay. Now, remember the family I'm telling you about. The family, I think they let her back in because of Gypsy, I would imagine. I would think they weren't overly happy to have Dee Dee back, given who she was and the trouble she caused over the years. I don't think it would have been a celebration to have her back. But obviously Gypsy, newborn baby, they're all going to welcome him with open arms. Of course they are. Now, when little Gypsy got to 3 months old, Dee Dee started to say she's suffering with sleep apnea. Okay, she wasn't sleeping. Well, she was sleeping, but she was sleeping so deeply she was forgetting to breathe. And family members would say that Dee Dee would sleep with Gypsy on her chest because she was so scared that she'd miss it if she wasn't breathing. Okay, now, given what happens as we go along this story, you might be like, was it an escalation or was it already in the process? You'll see what I mean in a bit. Okay, but Dee Dee takes Gypsy to the hospital once they get checked, and Gypsy's put through overnight stays in the hospital, to check this if she has in fact got sleep apnea. But even after all the overnight stays, and remember, she's only 3 months old, she's having to stay in a hospital without a mum, and it must have been, daunting for her as a baby, not knowing what's going on, and she's tied up to all these, wires which they have to do to monitor you, to see if you're stopping breathing in the night, the hospital, there was no signs of sleep apnea. None at all. Okay. So then Dee Dee starts to say, well, she's got a chromosome. Oh, God. I was so prepared for that one. A chromosomal disorder. God's sake, I practiced that as well. So she's taking her to the hospital saying, look, this is wrong with her. You're starting to say, I mean, we did the story a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? About a very similar sequence of events, didn't we? It would appear that we're going along that route, all right? Because then, as little Gypsy's getting older and she gets to about 3 years old, all of a sudden she's got muscular dystrophy. Has she? Has she been diagnosed with muscular dystrophy? Well, she's using a walker. She has to use a walker. She can't walk otherwise. And the family are like, hang on a minute. She seems fine. She seems all right. She seems perfectly okay. But Dee Dee's taking her to hospital. Of course, she didn't take her to the same ones. She takes her to different ones. Like, because doctors are going to catch on eventually. So far now, we have in this very small child, you have sleep apnea, chromosomal disorders, and muscular dystrophy, which is like a muscle wasting disease, I believe. Oh, God, have I worded that right? I'm sure it is. Don't come for me. I'm sure it is, though. Okay, so we get to age 8, okay? And little Gypsy, she goes out. Now, I am missing little bits in that section because Gypsy Rose has written a book. She's written a book. So don't think because I've jumped to age 8, if you have heard of any little bits happening in between them, not regarding her and Dee Dee, but regarding other people, don't think I've missed it out, or well, I am missing it out, but don't think I'm not aware of it. It's just I will mention it in part 2 because technically I don't know yet. Okay, just throwing it out there. And I don't know who we've got in the live or who we've got out there, but it could be like, what about this? Yes, I know. I'm just not. We're not mentioning that just yet. All right. So it's not related. It's not going to affect this part of the story. So. All right, so age 8, anyway. She goes out on her granddad's motorbike, and they're just sort of having a little nip round. All right, and she falls off. And all she does is grazes her knee. That's all she does. Now you can imagine. Little motorcycle, whipping around. She's only 8 years of age. She could have really hurt herself. There's no denying that. But she didn't. She grazed her knee. But Dee Dee, true to form, takes her straight up to the hospital, very indignant. So my child's poorly, you don't understand. She suffers with things. So she takes her to the hospital. When she comes back from the hospital with Gypsy, it's not just Dee Dee and Gypsy that get out of the car when they come back. They come loaded with a wheelchair. They now have a wheelchair with them. And she obviously puts Gypsy in the wheelchair and she basically says, yeah, you don't understand because of her muscular dystrophy. She can't walk anymore now. She can't walk. Okay, but she scraped her knee. No. That's it for her now. She can't walk anymore. So the family are, they're very questionable, questioning it. But they're like, but she loves her and she's just come back from the hospital. So there's obviously something we don't know. But let me just mention something. 1997, all right? So just before this happened, her mum died. Dee Dee's mum died. So Gypsy's grandmother, okay? The family had become very, very, very suspicious of Dee Dee, all right? And basically they believed that Dee Dee starved her mum to death. So that sort of cut like a cloud over the family at this time, okay? Now, Dee Dee had worked as a nurse's aide very briefly in her life. Whether that was the reason she was like, oh, look after mum. But then mum died. And they were very, very, very suspicious of how their mum died. Okay? So just letting you know that. So now we get to 2001. Dee Dee was telling people that Gypsy was 8. Now, if you remember Gypsy's date of birth, Gypsy's actually 10. She's 10 years old at this point. So she's already messing with her age and trying to make her younger. Right, you might be like, what's going on? But this is where it's starting to escalate now. Right, well, it's already escalated. She's got the child in a wheelchair. She doesn't need to be in a wheelchair, but she's got her in the wheelchair. Okay? So, by this point, she's already taken her out of school. All right? So, Gypsy herself, she trusts her mum. And she says that around this time, she saw her mum as her best friend. She said she was my best friend. And her mum was her whole world. She was. And Dee Dee had told Gypsy, look, you can't go into school because, you're not well and you need all this medication to look after you. And I need to be there to make sure they're not going to know how to treat you if something goes wrong. So, I need to have you at home at all times. Now, during this time, Gypsy herself, bless her, started teaching herself to read. And she did that by reading Harry Potter books, which I thought that was great, really, that she did that. She taught herself to read. So, and the Harry Potter books, I've never read one, but I would assume they're not big writing, massive writing that you would get around that age, when you're just learning to read. But, now we get to the point where, now remember it is 97 that her mum died. Well, she did die. I don't know why I'm doing that. She did die. But it was under sort of suspicious circumstances. Well, Dad moved on. He moved on and he met another woman, stepmom Laura. Dad's name's Claude. Sorry, Granddad's Claude. So the stepmom of Dee Dee, so would be Gypsy's step-grandmother, she starts to get quite poorly, like really poorly. And the family are like, no, she's up to something again. She's up to something again. And the rumour is she was giving her, while she was feeding her, weed killer in her food. And she was just getting more and more and more poorly. And the family, like I say, are getting very suspicious. And they confront Dee Dee. They not only confront Dee Dee about Laura, the step-grandmother, they confront Dee Dee about Gypsy herself. And they're like, look, we don't agree what you're doing with the child. She's fine. By this time, Dee Dee had started to physically punish Gypsy if she kind of wasn't doing what she'd been told. Maybe she'd try and move outside of the wheelchair and She'd get a bit of a slap for that. So she'd kind of physically started to become a bit handsy with Gypsy as well. And the family weren't happy about any of this, and they confront her. And rather than defending herself, rather than defending herself, or, you know, saying I have no idea what you're talking about. No. She packs her and Gypsy up and they move again. Okay? You're going to notice moves throughout this story. It's not just the homes that she wants to move away from. It's the hospitals. She wants new hospitals, you see. So you will notice there are a few moves during this story as well. So at this point, they move to New Orleans. Okay, and they move into public housing. And they're actually surviving at this point on Rod, Gypsy's dad. Now, Rod himself, he was very confused by Gypsy's illnesses, and he had remarried by this point. They just thought she was an amazing mum. I've watched the interviews. And Gypsy's actual stepmom, in the interview, she said, we just thought, but Kirsty, I believe her name is, she said, we just thought she was amazing. We just thought she was an excellent caregiver. We just did. Why would you not? She's got this extremely poorly child and she's given up her whole life to look after her. You know, so at this point, they were living on Rod's child support payments and the sickness benefits that they would get for Gypsy. So that's what they were living on at this point in time. Now, during this time, Dee Dee's still taking Gypsy to hospital appointments, still taking her to medical appointments, and obviously she's moved. So she's got a whole new hospital to visit now. She's got a whole new hospital to bring this sick child to, okay? So at this point, she says she's not eating, she can't keep anything down. She has a feeding tube inserted into Gypsy. Again, ring any bells from the story I did a few weeks ago? And she has this, and I've heard it's just an awful procedure as well to put your child through that. I never understand these stories. But around this time, she's claiming that Gypsy's having seizures. She's claiming she's epileptic and she's having seizures. So the hospital prescribe anti-seizure medication. You might be like, what is going on? What is going on with all these doctors? But when Dee Dee wouldn't get an answer that she wanted in relation to Gypsy, she'd simply just up and she'd find another hospital. She'd find another children's hospital or just another hospital until she got the answer she wanted. It said that this woman was very, very manipulative. And she could literally just pummel them until they listened to her and believed that this woman obviously knows her child better than we do. No one in the right mind would be saying that this is going on if it's not. Don't forget we are, you know, although we're in early 2000s now, it's still quite early in I know we've done, I know it's not early for that diagnosis, but it was early for doctors to be picking up on it. That's all the defense I'm going to give, okay? Because when I was researching this story, I was very confused. I didn't realise just how many medical diagnosis was put on this child. I didn't realise how bad it actually was. And it's a disgrace. It's an utter disgrace. And it's an utter disgrace that it was allowed to go on as long as it did. But okay, so now with the anti-seizure medication that Gypsy's been put on, her teeth are starting to fall out. Her teeth are actually falling out. But this, believe it or not, plays into the fact that Dee Dee was saying that Gypsy was younger than she was. She wanted her to appear younger. Okay? So it all played into that. We get to August 2005. So at this point now, Gypsy's about 14 years of age. All right? So you would imagine, you know, your teenage years are coming, your figure's starting to change a little bit. Oh no. This girl still looked, I don't know, 8, 7. And what didn't help is that Dee Dee at this point was now telling everybody that she only had the mental age of a 7-year-old. And if you know this story, or if you don't and you want to go and have a look at it yourself, Gypsy has the highest pitched, sweetest voice you've ever heard. Very, very, very childlike. So you might, I can question the doctors on her diagnosis and the medication she was given and everything else. But the people around Gypsy, neighbours, etc., they wouldn't have known, because she looked so young. She spoke so young. You wouldn't have known. So I will point that out. So around age 14, Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans. Okay. Now it's like 19 years ago now, but I remember it. I remember that was horrific. It was horrific. Like the amount of people dying, losing their homes. It was awful. It really was. And they actually, honestly, did lose their home. You know, Dee Dee didn't sort of exaggerate this. They genuinely did. They they were in social housing. In like a kind of an apartment block, but not. It was more like ground level. Hard to describe, but they lost that. They lost it. They did. Like most people, they lost everything. But this was good for Dee Dee. Believe it or not. How can you see a positive in this, Jessica? Well, let me tell you. Because Dee Dee, because they'd lost everything, birth certificates, medical records, everything for Gypsy had just gone. It had gone in the hurricane. So she didn't have to prove anything to anyone anymore, the hospitals or anything else. She could just go and go, I've lost everything. I lost everything in it. So it worked out morbidly in her favour, in a weird way. Now, they stayed in a shelter for people with special needs for about 3 months during this time. And then, given the fact that this child, like I say, had muscular dystrophy and she had epilepsy and her teeth were falling out and she had sleep apnea, she had everything and all these special needs, and she had the mental ability of a 7-year-old and everything else, the charity just came in left, right and centre to help this little family, this single mum with this very sick child. And they airlifted them to a new home in Missouri. Okay. So we get to 2007. And Gypsy is awarded Child of the Year by the Oli Foundation. Okay. 2008. They actually get a brand new home from the Habitat Foundation, I believe. Or a Habitat charity, sorry. And it's called Habitat for Humanity. They built them a house with ramps. It was beautiful. It was painted pink. It was in Springfield, Missouri. They even had a hot tub you know, this was all built for them because of all the um, bad things that had happened in their life. They wanted to make things a little bit easier for this single mum and her daughter, who by this point Dee Dee had said that even though Dee Dee was accepting all this child support from Rod, and up until, you know, she was still at this point allowing Rod to speak to Gypsy, but she was there at all times, so Gypsy would know not to slip up, not to say anything. Because Gypsy, don't forget, she's 15 now, and she literally turning 16. She knows she can walk. She knows she can eat. But her mum told her, no, you can't. No, you can't. And you'll do as you're told. And obviously the arguments are starting to pick up. Gypsy, she doesn't think anyone's going to believe her if she tries to tell anyone what's going on at this point. So she plays along. She doesn't know her age. She doesn't know how bad it really is. She just knows herself that, but I can walk. She just knows that it's a secret and she can't tell anyone. She can't tell anyone she can walk. And because of all the medication she was being given, it did make her genuinely tired. So she would have wobbles, but not because there was anything physically wrong with her, because her mum was drugging her up and she couldn't hold her balance. So her mum would be like, see, I told you couldn't walk in your wheelchair. You know, so there was this manipulation. So it wasn't just a emotional abuse, it was like a mental abuse. There was a physical abuse because she would put her hands on Gypsy as well if she wasn't doing as she was told. So there was a lot of abuses going on. And I haven't said the name, but I think we can all gather, you know, Dee Dee is well in the grasp of Munchausen by proxy, and has been for many, many years. And it's just that attention that they get from excuse me, from people, from doctors, from everywhere, because they've got this sick child and they just get all this help from everywhere. And I don't get it. Of course I don't, because that'd be a bit twisted if he did get it. Just saying. But that's what I assume it's over. It's just a lot of attention, and they just, well, don't assume I have read it, but they just need more and more and more of it. And she couldn't risk this child just one day just getting up and walking out and being able to eat and being like, actually, my mum's been lying for the past 16 years. Okay? So around this time, Dee Dee, now remember, Dee Dee's name is Claudine. She changes her name to Claudinia. She just basically adds like a couple of letters in there, but adds the A onto the end. Okay? And it's just been explained that maybe it was just so it wouldn't be too confusing with that to remember the change in her name, but it was just enough of a change with the different letters. You know, social media had started to come into play. The internet was all up and running by that point. She just wanted to make sure she couldn't be easily found. So Claudinia, she decided to call herself, but still went by Dee Dee to people who knew our family, things like that. Okay, now around this time, Dee Dee would also show movies. So like I say, in that area where they lived, they were bordering on kind of celebrities, minor celebrities around the area. Everyone knew them. Everyone knew Gypsy, this poor girl, you know, who's so poorly, but she's always so happy, and she's always so bright and is sweet. And Dee Dee was just this mum who doted on a little girl and just wanted to be there to care for her and love her, and had, like I say, put her own life to the side just in the love of looking after this child. And what Dee Dee would do, she'd get a big like, sort of projector outside, and she'd charge people to come and watch movies at their house. Well, outside their house, like between $1 and $5 a time. It's like $5 get you nearer the screen. Oh, I'm assuming it's just very odd. They, like I say, they would receive free flights to see their doctors. They weren't very well known at this point. The Hurricane Katrina had really thrust them into the public eye. It did. So they'd get free flights to go and see the doctors that she didn't need to go and see. The free trips to Disneyland. They'd get backstage passes to Miranda Lambert, country and western singer, I believe. At one point, she even gave them $3,000 just, to help them, make life a bit easier. A lot of this was done through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You can see photos of little Gypsy when you look online, and she does, like I say, look very, very young. She's got little cute hats on, she's talks very high pitched. And you might be thinking, well, why the hats? Well, it wasn't just hats, she was wearing wigs as well around this point. Why is she wearing wigs, you may ask? Well, Dee Dee really went for it, and she decided to tell everyone that Gypsy had leukemia. She had leukemia now. And what she'd do, she'd shave her head. And when Gypsy would be like, I don't want you to shave my head, I've got hair. She'd be like, no, but because of the medication we're having to give you now, it's going to fall out anyway, and it's going to fall out in little tufts and stuff, and you're not going to want that. It's going to be embarrassing for you. So we'll just shave it, and, we can get you some pretty wigs and stuff. Oh, my God. Like, the manipulation of this woman just... 2009, we get to, and Rod... calls to wish Gypsy a happy 18th. Okay, this child's 18 now. Child, she's now an adult. But Dee Dee tells him not to mention her age to Gypsy. Now remember, Gypsy genuinely doesn't know how old she is. She genuinely doesn't know. And so Dee Dee tells him not to mention the fact that Gypsy's 18 to Gypsy, because Gypsy believes she's only 14. And like I say, Rod, who it started off, he was allowed to meet up with Gypsy, with Dee Dee in tow, don't forget, never on his own. Then it went to calls only. Then she wouldn't let her talk on the phone. Like, it got to a point where she stopped him talking to her altogether. Gypsy's getting older. She can't have anyone around this girl. She just can't. She's not a stupid girl. She's not. And the fewer amount of people around them, the better, including Gypsy's dad. She's got to keep her away. Not to mention the fact that she told all the neighbours, this is Dee Dee, she told all the neighbours that he'd been an alcoholic and he'd been vile, and he'd not had anything to do with Gypsy, and he'd never paid a penny for her. This bloke had paid child support from the day she was born. And this was just, it must have been, I've got to admit, a full-time job to keep up with all the lies this woman told. It must have been. It has to have been. And it certainly took up enough time that she didn't think to clean the house, because I've seen pictures and the house was utter chaos. It was. It must have been awful for Gypsy to live in. Dee Dee, it was said that was a hoarder. She was a known hoarder. She kept all paperwork. She kept everything. The house, very scruffy, clothes everywhere. There are pictures online of it. But there is a cupboard. There's a cupboard. Okay. and it's a medicine cupboard. Now, you've got all this just destruction, this whole of a house, and then you've got this medicine cupboard. Now, I've heard a couple of people go, it's spotless and everything else. I'm a bit of a freak, so to me that wasn't spotless itself either, but it looked much better than the rest of the house. It just must have been a horrible environment for this girl, especially when they've been given this beautiful home for nothing. And yeah, it was just turned into a hole quite quickly, to be honest. So, like I say, so now she's telling everyone she's got leukemia, so she's shaving her head. And even though, like I say, she's 18, she looked much, much younger. She was wearing wigs. She had quite a few of her teeth missing. The high-pitched voice. So no one would question her. And when they were out in public, when they would venture out into the public arena, she'd always hold her hand. She'd always have a hand there, like holding Gypsy while she was in a wheelchair. And if Gypsy slightly came across more intelligent, or spoke older than she was supposed to be, don't forget, she's only supposed to have a mental age of 7. This girl's 18. She taught herself to read. She's not stupid. Dee Dee would have her hand and she'd dig into her hand. And so Gypsy would know whatever she said the wrong thing and she better shut up. So even out in public, in front of however many people that were around, she still had that control on this girl. She knew not to say anything. She knew she couldn't speak up. Okay? So this was the relationship. This was how it was going. Okay? So, like I say, behind the scenes, Dee Dee was physically abusing Gypsy. She would slap her. She'd hit her with a coat hanger. She was known to coat hanger. I mean, just random things that she could get hold of. Coat hanger being weapon of choice, I presume. And what another thing she'd done, Dee Dee, because she wasn't happy with the leukemia and the muscular dystrophy and the sleep apnea and the epilepsy. She wasn't happy with all of that. What she wanted to prove was that Gypsy drooled all the time. She drooled all the time. So she wanted her saliva glands. She wanted 2 of them taken away. What? And what she would do, she would put this, it's called a topical anaesthetic into her gums, okay? And if you're in the dentist and you've had any anaesthetic, you know you dribble, don't you? You do dribble. And it would cause Gypsy to dribble. She'd drool everywhere. And so she'd give her this needle before they go on this hospital visit. So by the time they'd get there, she'd just be drooling everywhere. And yes, so this led to her saliva glands being removed. So with the medication that she was taking, and then not having saliva glands to cause, obviously, spit in your mouth, so it's all dry, her teeth the remaining teeth she had started to rot. So all her front teeth started to fall out. Oh, and it just still went with this very childlike look that she had. She was very petite, very, very petite. Like I say, you take away that hair, it's no teeth, this high-pitched voice. She's still hanging on to this very childlike appearance. And it's just all manufactured. It's just awful. Really is. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So her teeth would rot. They had to be removed. She also had very, very thick glasses on that she didn't need. Hearing aids, she didn't need. Okay? Awful. Around this time, it was causing a pill addiction for Gypsy. She's on severe medication for nothing. Of course it's gonna bring on an addiction for her. Just to put the cherry on the cake. And anyone who had suspicions, including doctors, they just didn't feel like they'd be believed because of everything that had gone on. Plus, the medical notes, don't forget Hurricane Katrina, all the medical notes had gone missing. The fact that this girl, excuse me, this girl was known now. This girl was known now. So no one wanted to come up and be the one to say, you're lying. You're lying. There's nothing wrong with your child. No one wanted to be that person. So around 2011, Gypsy had seen a film called Tangled. Now, she was only allowed to watch Disney films with her mom. Obviously, she wouldn't want her watching anything more sort of in depth so that she'd have a questioning life at all. So she'd just let her watch Disney films, and Tangled was one of them. Now, I'd never watched Tangled, but Tangled was a play on Rapunzel. So you had the Wicked Witch who had her in the tower, and because her hair, I don't know if her name's Rapunzel in it, but it's the girl that she kidnapped her from her real parents, and she'd put her up in a tower, and she'd use her hair so the Wicked Witch could stay young. This was the whole story behind it, and it started to make Gypsy think that she was in the tower. She'd go off on her own fantasy land, and she'd think that her mom was the Wicked Witch, and she couldn't work out how to get away from her. But in that film, she gets saved. The Rapunzel character, I don't know if her name's Rapunzel in it, but she gets saved by kind of her Prince Charming, if you like. And I know it's a different play on it. I've heard sort of how it's broken down, the film Tangled, but it's pretty much, that's the storyline. And she started to think, I wonder if I'll have a prince. I'll have a prince who'll come and take me away. So what had happened is little Gypsy had discovered the internet. Yes, she had. She discovered the internet. Okay. And she'd been talking to a fella who was a lot older than her, but not as old as you would believe he was, because obviously we know that she's around 19, 20 at this point. He was about 35, this guy was. Now, I've got mixed stories about this, so I'm going to tell you both, because I've looked elsewhere and everyone's very convincing in their telling of this part. So I'm going to tell you both both sides of what I've heard, okay? Okay, so it's a man called Dan, all right? She'd met him online. He went to the convention. It had been arranged. She met him there. Now, the two different stories I've heard is that Gypsy had packed herself a bag knowing she was going to meet him at the convention. They went to a hotel, okay? Dee Dee found them. Even though she's 19, 20, Dee Dee was like, no, she's 15. Okay, she's 14, 15. This is what she's telling everyone. She threatened the man to say, look, I'm going to get you done. You're 35. You're with a minor. I'm going to get you done. You don't get in contact with her anymore. Stay away from her. That was one story. The other story was that, again, they'd gone to the convention. Gypsy had packed a bag, but they actually went to the man's house. Okay? Now, in all of this, there was nothing underhand about it. Nothing actually happened between these two. She just saw him as her kind of saviour, if you like, I suppose Gypsy did. And in the second kind of telling of this, it said that she went to his house and her mum had tracked her phone. Okay? And that's how she found out where he was. Turned up at the door, dragged her out, threatened to phone the police, and took her home. Okay? So there's a hotel or his house. Either way, Dee Dee found them and dragged her home. Well, once she got her home, she smashed her laptop. She smashed her phone. This all done with a hammer. She said, if I ever catch you messaging anyone again, pulling any of this stuff again, I'll be using this hammer, but on you and on your fingers. She tied her to her bed with a dog leash for 3 days and starved her, which didn't really go in Dee Dee's favour when we know what happened to her own mum. Remember, her mum, Gypsy's grandmother, she was accused of starving her. Now don't forget, Gypsy's got a feeding tube. So Dee Dee's in charge of everything. She has control over everything of this child, right down to what she puts in her, because she puts all her medication through the feeding tube and everything. She can drug her up anytime she likes. It's just the control is next level. It's crazy. So this is what happened after that. So you'd think, well, maybe Gypsy might just give up and just think, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my life. This is just the way it's going to have to be. I'm going to have to continue to lie. She's never going to let me go. She said that she did discuss with her mum sometimes, like, getting a boyfriend maybe one day, getting married, having children. And Dee Dee was like, it's never happening. You are never getting married. You are never having children. You are never leaving me. So very vindictive, very like this poor young girl now, young woman, whose life's been mapped out in front of her to just be so she could just get free stuff. It's the attention and the free stuff for me. It's like, oh my God, it's crazy, right? So now we get to June 2011. Okay. I've only heard this once. Don't know the truth in it because I've only seen it once, but their arguments started to get more and more volatile. Gypsy's and Dee Dee's did. Obviously not in public, but in the house. They started to get more vicious between the two of them. Their arguments would go on for days. Gypsy said days these would go on for. And then there's this report that says that Gypsy shot Dee Dee with a BB gun. She shot her like 10 times with a BB gun. And obviously, Dee Dee must have manhandled it out of her because she's still, even though we know that there isn't actually anything wrong with Gypsy, given the fact of everything her body's been put through, she is a very weak girl. So she would have got it off her. And Dee Dee just tells people that the injuries are from like a failed robbery attempt, and she plays that off. Now, I've only seen this on one source, so if it don't come for me, I'm just saying because it's just where I've seen it. October 2012 now. Okay. Gypsy had began using her mum's laptop when her mum had gone to sleep. Now, it said that Dee Dee used to take sleeping tablets to go to sleep. So Gypsy, once she dropped off, Gypsy would realise that Dee Dee, really, she's out for the night. So she'd take her laptop, okay, and she'd go on a site called Christian Singles, okay, and this is where she'd just talk to young men. This is what she just wanted to be normal. She had all the emotions and the feelings of a young woman. She wanted a Prince Charming. That's what she wanted, okay? So She meets on there Nicholas Godejohn. And now I know I'm not pronouncing it right, but that's what I'm pronouncing it as, Godejohn. All right? And she meets him on there. Okay. And around this point, she's about 21 now, Gypsy is. And very quickly, they start this sort of online relationship. It's only online. They don't meet up. It's just this online relationship. And it starts off with Gypsy telling him all her ailments, you know, everything, the leukemia, everything. And, you know, was it to see how he'd react? You know, she obviously thought she wasn't going to get away from her mum. Maybe this is what she thought her life was going to be, and maybe if she could get someone to also go along with it, maybe. I don't know what she was thinking, but she told him first off that this is all her ailments, okay? And then they start to talk about marriage, and they start to talk about kids, and they start to talk about what they're going to call their kids and everything. Then it starts to get a little bit darker, and it starts to get like a little bit sexual, and to the point where it started to go where she would be his submissive and he would be her dominant. And there was a contract that we're going to draw, that can be drawn. Apparently there's like a contract online that you can sign if you're into this kind of BDSM type life. No, I don't know anything about it. I'm going to say I'm really ignorant now. I don't know anything about it. It's not for me. I'm far too controlling to have someone to tell me what to do. I can tell you that now. But this was the conversations they were having. And it got to a point where she told him the truth. She told him, look, there's nothing wrong with me. There's not. My mum, my mum's done this to me. And she tells him everything. She comes completely clean with him. You know, and he can't believe it. He can't believe that someone's done that to her. Because by this point, he loves her, she loves him. Now, think about Nicholas. Nicholas has got autism, okay? He's also got DID, which is dissociative. Oh, God. I didn't write it down. I've done it again. I didn't write it down because I was like, oh, I know that. Dissociative disorder. DID. What's that I? Someone tell me what that I is. Dissociative something disorder. I can't, but he had that and autism. So he'd had his own few problems, let's say, Nicholas had, and he just fell for her. She'd fell for him. And this went on for 2 years. 2 years this went on for. You know, just them back and forth in and planning their life together. But after the first year, after the first year, she confides in him everything, you know, what's happening. And once it gets to the second year, into 2014, she starts to think, this is never going to happen. This is not going to happen for me. She's not going to allow it. We've got to find a way to be together. And she also confides in a neighbour and tells her everything about her online relationship. And she's just like, I love him. You know, and this neighbour said she'd been talking to Gypsy like she was a younger sister type thing, and she was trying to advise her. Little did she know, they were actually the same age, but the neighbour obviously just didn't know, and no one knew at that point. So these are the plans. These are the plans that Gypsy and Nicholas come up with to have the identity disorder, thank you. Dissociative identity disorder, thank you. These are the plans that they come up with to be together, all right? So, early 2015, they put into play their plan A, their first plan, plan 1, okay? And what it is they're going to accidentally meet at a cinema. So Gypsy sends some money to Nicholas. Nicholas lives like 500 miles away, okay? But she sends in some bus money, like coach money, for him to come and meet her and her mum at the cinema. Because her and her mum are going to watch Cinderella at the cinema, okay? And Gypsy, bless her, dresses up as Cinderella. The wig, the dress, everything. And it's very sad because when you know the story, you know what age she was in that photo, but she looks with her little face, this wig swamping her little tiny face. She still looks so young. She looks so young in this photo, and look, she's what, 23 going on 24. It's about 23 at this point, okay? So the idea is, now the plan was they're going to, Gypsy and Dee Dee are going to go to the cinema. She's going to be all dressed as Cinderella. And she's just going to bump into Nicholas. She's not going to know him. They're going to pretend they don't know each other. And all of a sudden it's going to be like a love at first sight thing. This is how, even though she was the age that we know she is, and she'd been on the internet, and, you know, she was obviously much, much brighter than anyone knew, she was still very, very naive. And she wanted this fairy tale. Because don't forget, all the films she's been brought up on are Disney. It's all fairy tale. It's all princesses and princes and everything else. So in a little princess Cinderella dress, okay, she turns up at the cinema and she's all prepared to meet her Prince Charming and everything else. What actually happens is you've got this bloke in his 20s on his own watching Cinderella, a kid's film, in the cinema on his own. So when this meeting happens, Dee Dee's just, ew, get away. He's weird. No. Their little plan, their bubble was burst like that. And it wasn't even because Dee Dee had found out about that they'd been having this 2-year relationship, or that she thought he was going to take her away. She just thought he was a weirdo. And why is my daughter talking to this weirdo in the cinema watching a kid's film? What is going on? So that was plan A out the window, okay? Now, I've heard, again, I'll say it again, this story has been told so many different times. There's so many documentaries and everything else out there that I'm having to bring you different versions just to make sure I cover everything. And it was said that they actually went into the toilets in the cinema and had a little bit in the toilets, okay? Now, that's what's been said, but apparently, from what I've heard, that's not true. That didn't actually happen. So, who do you believe? Because I believe Nicholas was saying it did, and Gypsy said it didn't. So, I don't know. But I'm just going to put it out there anyway. So, I said that had happened in the toilets. They came out, Dee Dee went crazy, she didn't know what had gone on, but who knows if it went on. So that's plan A anyway. Plan A blew out the water, didn't happen. Gypsy goes home, she's broken hearted, he goes back to his home himself, 500 miles away. It's like, oh my God, this isn't going to happen. So that was plan A, alright. Now, plan C, you can see I'm jumping one here, can't you? But plan C was that she gets pregnant. That's plan C. Now, I don't know. Now, obviously, the logistics of it, the fact that they live so far away, she couldn't get away from Dee Dee. She was everywhere she went. She didn't get a moment alone or anything else. You know, that kind of, again, the naivety kind of thing didn't work. But That was one of their plans that they were coming up with, you know, how can she stop us being together if I get pregnant, you know. I don't know what Dee Dee would have done in that circumstances. Like her whole life had been built on this lie Gypsy's had, that Dee Dee had manufactured. I don't know if Dee Dee would have allowed a pregnancy to, something like a pregnancy to ruin that. I'll just say that. But anyway, that was one of their plans, but they decided, no, can't do that. So they went back to plan B. Alright? Plan B. And plan B, they put into practice in June in 2014. 2015, sorry. God, I had all that laid out then perfectly. And I cocked it up right at the end. Okay, June 2015. Alright? Okay. Their plan is to get rid. They want to get rid of Dee Dee. That's their big plan. Okay? They know, well, Gypsy knows. She knows she's never getting away from her. She's never going to let her go. She's never going to let her just go and live her life with this guy. She's never going to allow them to be together, or, you know, even if she did get pregnant, you know, we know what had happened. So that was never ever going to happen in a million years. So they come up with this plan. They've got her off Dee Dee. She's got to go. She's got to go. And they spend a year. Do you remember the cinema was in 2014? We're now in 2015. They spend a whole year. They've been communicating for 3 years now. 3 years. And this is where this has escalated. This is where it's been escalated to. Okay? So Nicola says, right, I want you to get me a taser, or a stun gun. I want you to get me a knife. I want you to get me gloves. I want you to get me all of this, and then I'll do it. And she's like, right, okay. So on this evening, they start to put into play this plan they've been putting together for a year, okay? Gypsy has sent him his bus money again. It's coach money. This lad doesn't work. So she sends him his coach money for him to come and see her. Dee Dee and Gypsy had been out for the day. They came home. Gypsy waited for Dee Dee to take her sleeping tablets, okay, and waited for Dee Dee to fall asleep, okay. And I'm going to leave you there. It's where I'm going to leave you. I was going to carry on because I had a little bit more to go, but I thought, you know what? No, that's a good place to stop. We're going to stop there. That was part 1. And it went on for even longer than I thought it would. But it's just so in-depth, these stories. I could kill Tiffany. But, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry. Come back and join me again. Thank you for joining me. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. I rarely do 2 parts, but I have done it with this one. So come back and join me. I would normally do it on Tuesdays. Leave it with me. That cliffhanger's either going to be for a whole week or it's just going to be 2 days. I haven't decided yet. You're going to have to wait till Thursday to see. But yes. Come back and or you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/JessRose5472. You can like, comment, subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me this evening. I'm going to have a little chat with the guys in the comments. And then, yes, I suppose I should say now, seeing as it's a part 1, shouldn't I? I'm going to kill him. Do I do it Thursday? Should we do it Thursday? Should we do the part 2 Thursday, even though Thursdays aren't request night? Should we do that? Yeah, okay then. There we go. There we go. Okay, so part two on Thursday. It's not normally, obviously, it's not request night on a Thursday normally, but because I don't normally split it, I just say normally again. We're going to do it on Thursday. So, yes, so come back on Thursday for part two. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. And like I said, I'm just going to have a chat with the guys in the comments now. Where is he? Kill him. Where is he? He's been at it again. Caught my eye a few times you did. He's absolutely terrible, isn't he? What was the bit that got me again now? There was something and nearly flew me straight. Oh, the gold digger. The gold digger. I've been singing that in my head ever since. Ever since, over and over again. I was like, brilliant, brilliant. I know I've seen worse, but that was the one that just stayed all for the whole story, just constantly. But I haven't watched. I've got to admit, he hasn't caught me out too many times tonight, so I'm not going to shout at him too much tonight. How are we all? Was that okay for part one? I know I'm not normally doing that. Has he been a nightmare, really, Phil? Has he really? Oh, do you know what? I've missed it then. I must have been really concentrating. I always do try and concentrate. He normally catches me. Did she finish it off? She couldn't have finished it off properly. No. She couldn't have finished it off properly, though. Did she? No. No. I've already got trouble with my channel. She wouldn't have finished it properly, surely. You're going to get me taken off completely. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. There we go. There we go. I was wondering then. I was like, no. Has she really? So there we go. That's my channel down. Here he is. Here he is. I've got to admit, Warwick, I'm not going to shout too much at you because bar that ring like going over my head. No, you didn't really throw me off too much tonight. Did Courtney come in the end? I haven't seen her. I didn't notice. I noticed Jerome. I noticed Jerome was in here. Is he still here? Oh, God. Do you know, I'm fine throughout the story. And then towards the end, I start to get really hot again. I've got my spray bottle as well. Well, I'm glad I managed to get through the story, though, because it wasn't... Oh, did he really? Patrice. Oh, God, Patrice. Isn't that what they say, the in-betweeners? Oh, that had me crying the other day, but it was bothering me because I couldn't remember the name. I couldn't remember the name of him. Do you know, I used to love that show as well, but I'm gutted they stopped doing it, but they all got too old, didn't they, to play teenagers. What was I going to say now? Did I miss out much in the story? Because I know yous like know it inside out. Did I miss out much? Because I can drop it in the next one, just for anyone watching after kind of thing. But I honestly did. I'm so... Did I not? Okay. That's good. Because I know it was Warwick, Tiffany, Hayley, and... I don't know if Kelly asked for this one, but I know you three did. Did you really? We'll lap it up. Look at me. Cutie Aphrodite. That's who I am. I know what that was. Got a bit too excited. Do you know, I haven't. I did see, they've done another one, haven't they? Stay calls me weirdo because I watch it every week, so I know you didn't. Watch what? The Menendez brothers. What Kelly's just said. Is that what? Or the In-Betweeners? I don't know. Tell me what you're on about. No, and I did notice they've done a new one, haven't they? There's a new one. Is it a new one? Or is it a rerun of the old story? Are they still in? Are they still locked up? I gotta admit, I knew all about their story years ago, but I haven't followed it. I haven't followed them. I'm really weird. The crime I like is It just calls you weird, full stop. You're on about Gypsy now, aren't you? Stop that. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. No, I know all of that. That's why I've stuck it into part 2. Get off. Get off. I know that. I know that. Let it. Shh. And then what else? They did get live. I was just wondering. I thought they did, but I thought I heard that maybe. I'm on about a different pair. I'm on about something else. I am then. Watch it every week, so I know you didn't. Are you on about? So you watch it every week. Are you on about her series? Is that what you're on about? Because I can't. I only realised very recently she's got a series. It was like, really? Yes, Warwick, you're right. What am I missing? He calls me weird. I'm weird. Oh, he just calls you weird. Right, got it. I'm back. They were going to try and go for the death minute. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Stop spoiling everything, Tiffany. I know, Tiffany, spoiling everything. Keeping that to cliffhanger. I did a cliffhanger and you're ruining it. Yeah, I did. Do you know, I'm going to have a look. Because I know it was... They were in the living room, weren't they? The parents. Weren't they watching TV or something when they walked in? Wasn't it shotguns? And it was really bad. It was a really bad crime. I'm pretty sure I've seen the crime scene. So you watch the series, you loser, do you? So why am I doing it? You're going to know far more than I am because I don't watch it. I've just been getting the clips. Yes, that's right, Kelly. I thought, yeah, it's coming back to me now. It's coming back to me. Didn't they say they were at the cinema or something? What didn't they say they were at the cinema? I don't know if I'm getting it right. I think I might be getting it confused with another one, but I do remember the crime scene was brutal. I remember being like, oh, it's a bit much. I don't know what I watched it on, but it showed it. You need to get life. She does, Warwick. She really does. Do you know what? I can't say anything for the content I watch, but that's a line. But the show is it really Americanized? Look, oh God, I don't know. Is that a word? But like real, is it that? Because that can do my head in a little bit. That's what does it sometimes with me. She comes back swinging. She's come back swinging. Yeah, I think that's what puts me off some crimes sometimes, depending if there's a documentary or something and that I might get introduced to it that way, and then I'll be like, I know. I think she got that round though, Kelly. I think she... He's back. I don't know now. I think it's 1-1 now. I'm sorry. Oh dear. Both pairs come out swinging. It's a good job Cordy's not here. Right, I have no idea what time it is. I have no idea how long this live's been on for, because at the minute it's telling me I've been on for minus 396.30.24. Don't know what that means. I don't know how long that means I've been on. It's as long as it carried on, I was good, but I don't know how long it's telling me I've been on live for. He just didn't want to play tonight. So luckily we managed to get through it, but I just don't know, is it going to stay on, what it's going to do. So I am going to let you go, because I genuinely don't. I have no idea what time it is. I have no idea. You know, in them dreams where, you know, you've got to get somewhere and time's just going. Does anyone had them dreams where you need to be somewhere, like on holiday, but you can't pack your clothes. 9:38. Is that the time? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. She said me, we're both bigamists. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're online bigamists. That's who you are. I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone. Can't say anything about the people who watches. Although, to be fair, they're not even allowing anyone to watch it now, are they? 9:38. My God, that's crazy. Took me a second then. And what was going to say? I was saying something else as well. Oh, my dream. But we'll talk about that another time. Does no one else have them? Is it just me? Right then, I was waiting for Phil to pipe in and say, it's jingle time. It's jingle time. It is that time. But thank you all for bearing with me at the beginning. What a palaver. And thank you for hanging on. Thank you for not hating on me for splitting it into 2 stories. But it's so, oh my God, it's ridiculous. It could be split into 3 at this rate, to be honest. But I won't be doing that. But yeah, it could quite easily be because it's just so long. But yeah, thank you for joining me. And if you want to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472, or you can like, comment, subscribe, guys. Look, comment and subscribe. What's 4? 4 actually. Remember both. 4 bigamists. I don't know what that means. Look, comment, subscribe, guys. Look, comment, subscribe. Never hate on you. Who I hate on? Ah, is that for me? Is that for me? Thank you. Thank you. 4 Oh, 4 No, 4 You're getting 2. You are getting 2. And that's it. And you know what? No more requests from you for a very, very long time. Probably at least 6 months. Look, comment and subscribe, guys. But thank you all. And I'll see you all, hopefully, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. God's sake. Do you know what? I don't know how I got through it tonight. I don't know how I got through it. My speech has just been... Right, okay, I'll stop pulling that face. Right, see you all on Thursday. Take care, guys. It took you 6 months. Oh, stab me in the heart, why don't you? Do you know what? I was waiting for a 55 episodes to finish, that's why. No, took that to the heart, I did. I know it did. I didn't want to do it. I even told Mum today, so I don't want to do it. I know that's horrible. I know it's a horrible thing to say. I just didn't want to do it. But I take it back. I didn't know all the ins and outs. I didn't know it all, so I take it back. But yes. Okay. See you Thursday. Have a good couple of days. And yeah, thank you for joining me again. Take care, guys. Look, comment, subscribe.